I don't know where she went. She's still here, but she's not.
It looks like she's, I mean, I see her name pop up, but I don't see her picture.
Yeah.
Or I mean her.
That is so weird. Well, how's your second to last week of school going?
Oh my gosh, it's so stressful. The deadlines, it's all about the deadlines, and I have that major project due Monday night. Mm-hmm. So it's hard with my schedule at work, and then there's just not enough hours in a day, you know?
There's really not.
Okay, it's gonna be an hour. Do you want to ask him if he wants to go out there with you?
Yeah.
We lost him. Yeah, the deadlines are definitely hard for this last week.
Yeah. I've never had to like look at my grade and count points and then look at the syllabus and be like, okay, I think I can skim this, you know? I've never been that way, but right now there's just so much to get done between school and work. It's like timing is really awful, but I'm just trying to take it like one assignment, one day at a time.
Yeah, that's all you can do sometimes.
Yeah.
I accidentally did the quiz that's due on Sunday today and then didn't do the quiz that was due today. So I'll do that after the call. But I was like, oh my gosh, thank God I scrolled through and looked at it, because otherwise I would have done the wrong one.
Time.
Yeah.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
I can hear you.
Okay, I tried my laptop, I tried my phone, now I'm on my iPad, so hopefully it holds battery.
Okay.
All right, sorry to interrupt.
No worries.
No problem.
So this week let me look and see what we're supposed to be talking about. I looked at it briefly earlier. So whether or not we prefer challenging the process by turning on music or art or reading something in particular or just browsing a library, or going to see something inspiring or searching around for fascinating, funny, or engaging websites or games or team building. Okay, so how do you guys prefer to challenge the process?
I thought this was like, is this like ways to think outside the box? Because that's kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking too. It made me think of the times that I have challenged the process and what process I kind of followed to change or challenge the process. So it kind of seems like for me, it also makes me think about like where you get your best ideas, right? Like some people are like, oh, I get my best ideas in the shower, or
right. That's what I was kind of thinking it was, because that's what I wrote down.
Yeah. Okay, good.
Do, so.
I'm glad we were on the same page with that one. So I was like, I don't know. But for me, I tend to think of ideas and that sort of thing when I'm driving in the car, which is super inconvenient.
I have that one down too.
Yeah. Like, how do you take notes? You don't want to like text it and drive, you know, like I have a to-do list that I put a bunch of stuff on and then I'll go back and look at it later. But I don't want to pick up my phone and mess with it. And I've tried sticky notes on my steering wheel and they never stick. So I don't know.
Well, I just like, I'll take my phone and I won't like text or anything, but I'll just like push the microphone and it hears me and then it saves in my memos.
Oh,
so
that's
later
a great
on,
idea.
Like, you know, later on I can go back to it and write it down, like to actually like, sometimes you can't tell what it says, but you get the gist, you know, like, so that's how I do it while I'm driving, because it happens a lot when I'm driving.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah. I'll have to try that. I feel like at work a lot of times where I get ideas is when we're like in the middle of peak on the floor and it's super inconvenient. There's no time to stop and take notes either, but my shift supervisors kind of have a running joke that they always put me on bar because I easily get distracted. Like if I'm on a different position, I'll wander off and start a project. It actually happened to me today, and my shift just walked in the back room. She's like, "Did I lose you, Danny?" I was like, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. I'll get back to work, I promise." but I'll start tearing apart like a cabinet to organize it, or, rearranging something, or I'll go and like have to take notes and then come back. So I think driving and then when we're busy on the floor is really when I have those ideas. And then challenging the process for me, if I'm in the car, it kind of gets lost in translation because I don't have a good way to take notes. So I'll try to come back to it whenever like I stop or I'm at home or something like that. But then if I'm at work on the floor, I'll get distracted and go and do said thing because I'm very impulsive about it. I have to do it right now. So I've been trying to take a step back from that and just kind of jot down a note, table it, and then go and talk to team members about it, which has been really effective because Monica and LaSalle and I were just talking about this. There's not enough hours in the day, and I feel that at work as well. And so, we get so many hours on the floor, so many hours off the floor. So 9 hours a week is what we have to do the schedule for payroll for anything that we need to get done in the office. And it's often not enough time for me to plan. So I've just been going, okay, who would like this? Whose idea? Like who could take off with this idea and run with it? And I've had a lot of partners. We just recently did development conversations. And so I've made all these notes to talk to them about these things to see if they're interested in it. And most of them are super excited to be able to have something to own in the store. And then one of my partners, for example, her name is Taylor, and she loves drawing our chalkboards. She's totally our artist. Well, she recently told everybody to turn in their name badges. They're like little chalkboards that you write on your apron. And a shift came up and asked me today, where are we supposed to put our name badges for Taylor? I was like, I have no idea what you're even talking about. Like, I don't even know what that means. And she was, oh, Taylor's making us all name tags. I was like, oh, okay, cool. So, something that I probably could have done myself, but now I don't have to try to feel pressured to do it. And Taylor also gets to do something that she loves to do while she's there,
That's
so
awesome.
that's been working really well for me. And not only getting things done, but having them feel like they have some sort of ownership within the store, and then it relieves a little bit of pressure for me because it's one less thing that I have to do, So
yeah, it gets them. I feel like it gets them excited too to like.
yeah.
Sometimes when you're in a job, it's like the same thing day after day. But like if they get to do fun, things like that, make it
art projects,
what they like about it. Like then it makes them want to come to work more.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of what challenging the process meant for me and how I deal with it currently. What about you guys?
For me, as far as like thinking outside the box, I don't just kind of sit around and think outside the box. I tend to do that more so when I'm under stress or there's something that I don't like or agree with. Something that just didn't rub me right. And that's when my mind just goes 100 miles a minute. And I start thinking of new ways to do things and how could we use our resources the best. What changes could we make to improve safety or even, our budget, until I'm hit with something that really just I don't like, or I feel like this is going to turn into a problem down the road. I feel it or I foresee a problem. Then I really start thinking outside the box, and I get the nerve to challenge the process because I'm not one to normally be very like innovative and just on my own to seek new ways of doing things. I think because I've worked so long in the type of organization where there's already policy and very set rules to work within, and I just accept that. I prefer it all set in stone, and I work within those parameters. But lately, we're having to make so many changes for so many various reasons that I notice myself kind of under pressure and stress, and that's when it hits me, and that's when I do most of my thinking and my challenging the process. As far as with my team, I have really been trying to ask for suggestions and input, and really pushing the issue with letting them know, like, your thoughts are so valuable, because I value your experience and your intelligence, and what you bring to the table. And just in the last couple of weeks, we've all been issued mandatory extra shifts because of staff shortage. They've really stepped it up. And in the last couple of weeks, I feel my team has been the most giving, also the most kind of passive and accepting, where they probably would have put up an argument or fight about certain things changing. But instead of that, they've been very accommodating. And just the other night was our Friday, and I sent them, an email letting them know that they're really stepping it up. Their hard work's not unnoticed. I feel like we're really cohesive, and it's such a really hard, trying time for us that I appreciate it. And I mean, even after that email went out that night, people were doing extra duties, were volunteering for things, and just trying to use every last minute of their time to get stuff done, which I was actually in shock. But I so appreciate it, and I thought, my goodness, a couple years ago, I didn't seek their expertise and their feedback and their input and their thoughts, and what a difference it makes. So I'm really glad that I took this class, and like the book, even I flip through the book all the time, just to get some ideas, like, how could I do this? What could I change tomorrow when I go in? What could I try differently, even with my son, to get him motivated to study a little bit harder? And it's this book, I'm definitely holding on to this book and the material from this class.
Yeah, it's a good book. That's really
I
awesome.
really do like this book a lot.
It's good.
Yeah.
That's really cool that you can kind of see the difference between your team then versus now, and especially in a circumstance where it's so easy to get burned out when you don't have the option of taking those shifts or not. They're just like, you're doing it, that's it,
Yeah,
I would be so
burned out
cranky.
is a perfect word. Everybody's burned out and exhausted, and a couple of like minor emotional breakdowns at work, and just showing that human side of offering them things, resources we have, and letting them know they're valued, and that their thoughts and knowledge is important to me. It's made a hard difference, because a real difference, because it's hard to motivate people who are like, well, I have this job no matter what. I've been here 20 years, and I have a union, and I haven't done anything wrong, and these are my duties, and that's it. So it's hard to motivate people sometimes, especially when you're dealing with people who know they're safe in their job, and they can get by with doing the bare minimum. So this has been super helpful for me, and I see everybody in a little bit of a different light. Like, I want to keep pulling that out of them, not necessarily to get extra work or anything, but to kind of, I'm learning a new side of them even.
That's good.
Yeah,
it's exciting.
Fantastic.
That is exciting.
It's
So even the people that have been there for, so even the people that have been there for like 20 years, they're starting to like change too, and coming around, and which is hard to believe, because normally when someone's stuck in their ways, it's hard for them to get out of that rut, unless they were like in a course like this,
Right. No, I've watched this guy on my team who started with me 22 years, and he's been the most stubborn and hard-headed. And even him, the other day I asked him a question about something, and he was like, no, I haven't seen that. And like an hour and a half later, he comes to me with a big pallet. He had taken the time to load all of the stuff I was looking for and bring it to me. And I was just standing there in shock, because,
awesome.
I didn't ask him. I just simply said, have you seen these items? I guess they were shipped and I don't know where they were put. I'm looking everywhere. And he took it upon himself to go find it, load it, bring the pallet in. Like, I mean, he really went out of his way. So, I thanked him, on the spot. And then the next day in roll call, I made an announcement about, how that really helps me when I feel stressed out or I feel like I don't have enough time. And I'm like, I didn't even ask you. And that was such a nice surprise. And, I appreciate it. And he's just been on a roll since. I was like, wow. So,
That's
yeah.
awesome. That's really good.
Maybe that's just what he needed,
Yeah.
like a little bit of recognition
Maybe.
and someone to care for him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe.
That's awesome.
It's really good.
So how else do you guys challenge a process? Can we still not hear LaSalle? I see you shaking your head.
Hi, LaSalle. Can we hear you?
Oh,
I
no.
I can't hear. I know I can't hear him either.
I'm like, wow, LaSalle's being quiet. Now I know why.
I don't know. That's weird because, like, all of us kind of had issues with the sound at first.
Yeah,
But now that I got on my iPad, I'm all right. I don't know. And then last Friday, I did it on my phone and I had no problem. But now it's so weird how technology is annoying.
Yes.
Well, I guess since LaSalle can't talk. Oh, I think he's trying to talk, but I can't hear him.
He's going to try again, huh?
So I really didn't really think too much about actually challenging the process. I thought we were just like trying to figure out like what we do, but we talked about the driving. I guess one of my big things was get past of the fear of making a mistake. Like, because I used to be at my work and I was pretty new. Like, I'm still one of the youngest people there, and we have weekly meetings. And I was always the one that just sat there, like, and I just listened, and now, like, since I've been in school, like, now I force myself to, even if it's something silly, it's something small, like, I force myself every meeting to actually throw my opinion out there, and I'm getting better at it. Like we talked before, like, practice makes perfect, and I used to get, like, I would shake, and it's crazy because, like, I am an outgoing person, but when I got, like, talking to people, like, in the middle of a huge office that these people have been there for 30, 40 years, I was very intimidated. But I've learned in these classes. LaSalle, can we hear you now?
I don't know.
Yeah,
there you are.
Third piece of technology is the charm.
Yeah. So that's, like, my go-to now is no matter, like, if I'm in an uncomfortable situation or anything, like, I just do it and I don't think about. I just kind of, like, if I think about it for more than 3 seconds, I won't. So I just do it and I get it done, and I feel, like, more confident in my skincare business and my job through the county. Like, I just feel like a better, I don't know, I'm just getting more confident in my skin, I guess. That's kind of really my, like, go-to, like, challenge the process, because that was never me before 2 years ago. Like, I was just not quiet, but that just wasn't my
a little bit shy.
That just wasn't my atmosphere, because I worked in the restaurant my whole life. I was never in a government type of job, and that just was not me. So my supervisor has said many times, like, how much I've changed since I started with actual, leadership courses, that he's seen it. I've been there for 3 years and I've been in school for 3. Well, I've been at ASU, I guess, for 2 years. So, but yeah, he's seen a big difference, and it's helped me, like, be more confident and just do more, I guess.
That's awesome.
So yeah, but it has helped me. Like, these courses have really helped me, like, open up. And
oh yeah.
Who cares what people are gonna think,
Yeah.
LaSalle, what about you?
They do help put you in a little better perspective taking these leadership courses.
Yeah.
Challenging the process. I thought about this question a lot more spatially because, I live in a constant state of challenging processes. think I've told you that my biggest blessing and my biggest curse at the same time is just the fact that I'm always pivoting. I'm always seeking out new knowledge, new ways to just grow and be better. And so challenge is just a thing with me. And yeah, I think you were talking about how the mind is just always spinning. And yeah, I'm always spinning. My brain's always trying to task a new thing. I have all my notebooks here sitting next to me. This is my school notebook. This is my work notebook. This is my personal notebook. And I'm always jotting down thoughts.
That's awesome.
Good.
Yes, and once I get off of the bus and head into the office, the first thing I do is all those things that were clicking through my mind while I was on the bus, I jot them down so that I can always have things to refer back to.
Like it.
I'm a big learner. I'm a big growth mindset person. And so I'm always living in a state of challenge personally. I think that my biggest challenge that I have learned to negotiate through taking these leadership classes and in my own voyage of self-discovery now that I'm an old man is that maybe I was a little too cynical about my ability to be a high performer and to learn and grow outside of the other people around me that I may have not been as encouraging to about being a role model to them. And so I've learned that when I used to just sit silently at work and see things sort of go by and just focus on me being the best me I could be at work and being a high performer and letting other things happen, I'm trying to be more encouraging to other people, be more of a role model, and step out of my skin and my daily activities, and just point out things to other people and be the example of the type of performance I want to see around me. And that is a different type of leadership to me. I always thought that maybe passively, if people just saw me doing what I do, that they would react to me and perform at the same level I do. But no, that's not the way it's going to go more often than not. You have to give people a little bit of a nudge. You have to be encouraging. You have to not just set an example. You have to model that example with your thoughts toward them as well. They have to be able to connect with you. And so that connection aspect of challenging other people to be their best selves and giving them the tools to do that. That has been the biggest growth opportunity for me that has started to pay off dividends. I think that people trust me now more because I'm less closed. I'm more open to giving them my feedback on things in an honest and a very supportive way instead of just looking at them fail and well, it's not my problem. Right. I'm doing what I need to do. So that has been my way of challenging the process. Now, getting outside of just being myself, being a high performer, and giving people the tools around me to be their best high performers as well, and being a good sounding board for them, being a good neighbor, not just a good employee. And I like the better me that I am now because people, not only am I good at work and my boss recognizes it, the people around me recognize that I'm not just there for myself, I'm there for them as well. And that's what teamwork is all about.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I like that you brought up that they trust you more now that you interact more and give them feedback. And I think that has a little bit to do also with my team. And you pointed it out when you said that. So thank you. Yeah, that's true. I feel that.
Yeah, for sure. And being the role model, like people are watching you at all times. And if you consistently, work like you do and have your leadership style like you do, like they will naturally pick up on that. And maybe that will transfer to them too, like someone that's not all that great of a worker, but if they see you being what you are, like it's going to make them be better, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Hope so.
Yeah. You seem like a pretty good dude, LaSalle. I like you.
Yes, you do.
Doesn't he?
I try. All any of us can do is be the best that we
Yeah,
can.
absolutely. In my where I work at the county, like I have 2 ladies that have been there for years and years and years, and they're just back and forth all the time. And like I'm in my own office, so like, but I still hear it, you know. And it's like, gosh, they act like they're in high school, and these are like 2 like 50-something-year-old women. And so I, like you, Lisette, like I just try to, you know, guys, we're here to do the same thing, but it's not changed them yet. So I don't know if there's hope for them. But, you know, I'm just gonna do the best that I can, and hopefully I'm not there forever.
Yeah, negative energy is hard to.
It's hard. It's very hard when it's all the time.
Yes.
It's exhausting, and you're not even, you know, I'm not even the one that's being negative, and it's like just hearing them like bicker back and forth, you know, it's maybe that's why I don't like my job that much.
Well, a negative environment does make the job just nearly impossible.
And most of them are really good. But the 2, I mean, those 2, they're the loudest ones, and they're, you know, it's hard.
It only takes one.
It does.
Yeah.
You're so right. Yes, it only takes one, and not one person could get
one person can bring it all down. Yep.
Didn't we read about that in the chapters this week? I almost said month. Something about like the negativity and stuff, and I don't know. I must have read it somewhere, and I went into.
I don't remember that, and I don't know. All my weeks are running together.
I know, mine too. I'm like, I don't know when I read it. Sometime within last year. But
if that is true, I would think that you would read that for sure.
Yeah, and so I read it somewhere, I don't know where, and I was thinking about it, and I have this one partner who I've been having a challenge with in particular, and she only works a few days a week. And today was the first day that I was going to see her after we had a really difficult conversation last week. And you just walk into the store and you feel it, you know, and I'm telling myself the whole 30-minute drive there, I'm not going to let that get to me. I'm going to shake it off. I'm going to make today fun. It doesn't matter. She's not going to get me today, you know, and it's just like, I don't know what it is, but you get that negative energy next to you, and it can quickly ruin everything for everybody.
Within that first 2 minutes of you stepping in that door, that funny.
I know.
Like, it hasn't even started yet.
I know. I was thinking about it last night. I'm like, good Lord. But yeah, going back to what LaSalle said, it only takes one.
Yep, it does. It only takes
one. Okay, so other stuff that we can talk about. Oh, and I wanted to go back to something that you said, Jade, about challenging the process. I think we challenge processes in similar ways, because I don't like to step out on that ledge. And sometimes I feel like I don't have the time or the capacity to do so. So I'll just be like, you know what? Not me today. But I kind of have to tell myself the same thing. Like, if I don't try it once, then I'm never going to know, sort of a thing. And it usually turns out okay.
It almost always does. And that's why I'm like, 3-second rule. I'm like, I'm not going to think about it anymore. I just do it. And I don't know, it's weird, but it's helped me like be more confident in a lot of things. Like, I don't find myself counting or overthinking about it. You know, I find myself just doing it. Like, and it's getting easier too. Like, it's getting more comfortable. It's just like, I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah.
But it's true. Like, you can't talk yourself out of it.
It really is. I've had a lot of weird opportunities come up with Starbucks. And so, you know, when probably like 4 or 5 years ago, when I was new at what I was doing, I was super shy. My boss would ask me if I would want to do something, and I just kind of get this look on my face, like, we're going to pretend like you never asked me that, and we're not going to come back to it. But I had one of my leaders talk me into trying to be a little bit more open. They're like, what is it going to hurt? Nothing. You're hurting yourself by not doing it, potentially, you know? And so I was like, okay, fine. I'm going to jump off this ledge, I guess. And it ended up,
it wasn't that bad,
and
right?
it wasn't that bad. It was actually that first one was so scary, and then everyone after that started to get easier and easier.
Yep, because
And
practice
it's
makes perfect.
yeah, and there you go. And it's
It
kind
does,
of
remember?
it's kind of a fault now because anytime something is brought up to me like, oh, do you want to try this? What about this? I'm like, oh yeah, sure, I'll do that. And now I'm like, how the hell do I have time for this? I don't even know. So careful with that one. It might come back to bite
Yeah.
you.
But that made me think of something. So tomorrow, all right, so I've been in my job for like 3.5 years, but I just started like code enforcement like a year ago. So like I have to deal with hearings and I have to do a lot of public speaking, which remember I was not good at before. But tomorrow I actually have to go up on the stand, and it's like at the Superior Court. And I looked at my boss the other day, and I'm like, in all the years you've been here, has any of these cases went to Superior Court?
That's
No.
crazy.
None of them ever. And I'm like, of course, because I'm brand new. You know, I'm gonna have to get up on the stand tomorrow. But because like I've been practicing, like, you know, just doing things that I don't normally do, I'm not as nervous for tomorrow. Like I'm still nervous, but I remember my boss, like when you said something, and when you told your boss, did you really just ask me that? I'm gonna pretend you didn't. Like I used to tell that to my boss all the time. I was like, no, I am not giving that. You know, it just kind of reminded me of tomorrow, and I'm like, great. But no, like because I've been challenging myself, like I'm not as scared about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It becomes easier.
And then after you walk out of there, you're gonna be like, oh my gosh, I was stressed out for
That
nothing.
was so easy.
Yeah.
I don't know if
you're like, I got this every week now. I can do this all the time. Yeah.
But yeah, so it reminded me of that because it's something I'm not used to, but I'm not as nervous as I would have been a year and a half, 2 years ago. So
yeah, that's awesome. You're gonna do great tomorrow. I'm sure.
Thanks.
Yeah.
So code enforcement, Superior Court. So like parking tickets and
code
stuff?
Enforcement is just like, it's silly little like neighbors being mad at neighbors. Like people call me if someone has junk in their yard, or people call me like if someone builds a structure without a permit. But this person is he started a winery out of his property in residential neighborhood, and his neighbors are not happy. It's a residential neighborhood. It's not like people are driving back and forth and back and forth. And normally, like when we get involved, they stop, they move on. This guy has hired lawyers. I mean, it is nuts.
Oh, what a mess.
And it's like, just go put your business in a commercialized place that businesses are supposed to be.
I was thinking you just bring wine to the neighbors and then they'll be fine with it.
No, these neighbors don't drink wine. But it's been horrific. It's been going on for it started about the same time that I got hired on at that position.
Oh, no.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Years.
So I was like, what? And it's taken a year to actually get to court.
With the money invested, he might as well have rented a commercial.
He should have just rented a place.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
You know, sometimes people are just so stubborn and they just fight for their principle and what they want, they feel, you know, they deserve or their right is.
I really truly don't believe like he's not all there. Like it kind of worries me like with how people are nowadays. Like I told my boss, I was like, hey, I want to take the screen out of my window. He's like, why? I'm like, because I need like easy access. Like if he comes in here, who knows? But like he's nuts.
I know that we have to think like that now.
It's sad that we have to think like that, but
yeah.
He took my screen out. He goes, you can't just bust through the screen. So I'm like, well, it'd be easier if I didn't have to.
Oh my goodness.
So we'll see. I'll let you guys know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is some craziness.
It is weird. I mean, it's just crazy because throughout many, many, many years, nothing ever like this has ever came up. And now that I'm brand new, of course, something like this is going to come up.
Yeah.
That's life.
It is life.
Good thing I have these courses.
Exactly.
And at least you're laughing about it. That's good.
It is what it is, girl.
What
So, what else? Where are we at? We have still 20 minutes.
Yeah, we've got about 25 minutes. Let me check the timer here really quick. Yeah, so 25 minutes. And there are other things we can talk about. There was one where if we watched the 3 videos, which I'm going to be honest with you guys, I didn't watch any of the videos.
I started to watch one. The one Malala or whatever, Malala.
Mm-hmm.
We had to watch that anyway in one of the modules. So I did see that speech, but I didn't watch the others. Is that how you pronounce it, Malala?
I think it's Malala.
Yeah. Which she was pretty awesome, for being 16 years old. But,
yeah.
I mean, her speech was crazy good for a 16-year-old.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
She is mature beyond her years now.
Oh my goodness. I couldn't believe how well she was. She's awesome. But that was module 2, so I don't really remember a whole lot about it.
Okay, so Jade and I are not doing that one.
And I did watch
Did you?
one of them. I watched the one on Elizabeth Nyamayaro.
Okay, I watched probably half of that. Yeah.
Yeah, very interesting stuff on the he to she movement. It's very much married to what Malala was talking about as far as you can't just advocate for women's rights from only the view of the woman. For anything to really take hold that's really going to be meaningful, everyone has to be involved in speaking that truth. And so recruiting men into the movement to speak for the cause on behalf of women, that's very important. And I really enjoy that there are so many people that are seeing that now, that men can't be the enemy if there's going to be an actual true movement on women's rights. Everyone has to say that we all have the same rights. We're all human. We all have the same wants and desires for our lives. And we all have to participate in naming the wrongs and fighting for those wrongs. So, good stuff. Watch it.
Well, it's good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I thought Malala's perspective and her talking about how much her dad helped her with that, and they were, teaching their kids that it's not just about one side or the other, it's about both sides and what the benefits can be for everybody, was quite impressive.
Yeah.
Because it really can't be a one-sided thing,
For sure.
Especially
we can't continue to live in boxes, and I think that's just the biggest downfall of society that we live in right now. Everything has to be segmented, and we live in these boxes, and we have these very polarizing, opposing viewpoints toward one another because of what we perceive the boxes that you live in. Well, you're conservative, so you're this, or you're liberal, so you're this. We're all people, and we all want our kids to grow up in a safe place. We all want to be able to take care of our needs, have enough food, have enough money. None of us differ on those things. And so get outside of the bitter, polarizing arguments that we have with one another and try to align with the things that we do care about. And no matter what our political ideology is, or our religious ideology or gender, those boxes can't define any of those real human values that we all have. We have the same values. So let's talk about the things we share instead of talking about the things we don't share. And that's where society will actually move forward the right way. And I mean, that takes personal leadership. That takes you stepping out that takes you challenging the process. And I think that's sort of what the point of all of this is at the end of the day. We all have to challenge our belief system and the status quo and go, well, this is the way it is today, but is that the way it should be, or is this the way that it has to be? And that's what Malala did. And that's what all of these leaders we've been talking about have done. And we all have to be responsible for doing that, leading ourselves out of these very rigid positions and trying to align with the bigger picture. And that will help us connect with others. I've really gotten a lot of value out of this course just for us talking about that one thing. It's something that I talk about all the time with my wife and with people I know, but never really heard about it talked about in a workplace dynamic or any type of big organizational dynamic that way. And I'm glad that the authors of this book put that out there the right way. And I really enjoyed the course for, if nothing else, that one reason that four of us can sit here and be completely different from one another, but we know what we share, the values we share, and we can talk about things.
And I like the fact that you put it that way, that we all want the same things, we all share the same values, and it doesn't matter, if you're conservative or liberal, or it doesn't matter. I have never stopped to wonder or think that, because we all seem to all share the same values, But my cousin, she's married to this really nice guy, but he focuses on liberals and conservatives. And, I get it. He's ex-military. He's almost seems like he's brainwashed and going towards like a deranged type of path. And before he even meets someone, he's like, are they a lefty? Are they a liberal? And I'm like, I don't know. I have no clue. All I'm saying is they're super cool. And if you want to go, we'll all be over here on this date. And literally, he will not budge. He bases his entire opinion about someone on political issues. And I mean, really, he even like my parents have said, his Facebook stuff is so creepy and weird, and yet he comes across nice in person. I'm like, that's because his family, we have the in already. But if you're a total stranger, man, watch out, because he cannot see that we have the same values no matter what. He just bases it off like, do you watch CNN or do you watch Fox News? And it's like, hey, you know what? I haven't even stopped to think about that. And it's sad. I feel like he's cutting my cut, because they recently got married a few years ago, and I feel like he's cutting her off from so much. And although I haven't seen her thought process change, I see her shut down a lot, where she's not as open in discussion as she used to be. And I kind of sat back a few weeks ago thinking like, oh man, I think he's changing her, and her daughters, they're big time, they're in high school, they're big time into feminism, and that's what they're growing up with, And I think, I wonder how the dynamics are at home, but I don't dare ask, because I don't even want to, know or tackle that. But it's like awesome that we all have the same shared values, and we all want the same things, So I think it's great. And on the survey, I did put, when it asked like what was your favorite part of the class, and I put, the fact that we got to do co-mentoring meetings, and that my group was so open and very compassionate, and it was great. It was a great experience, the meeting. So I put that on my survey.
I did as well.
That's awesome. I've never, in any of my courses, I've had groups, but never every single week having the video like for a whole hour. Like at first I'm like, man, I don't have time for that. But I actually have been enjoying like meeting with you guys, because we all, it's cool.
Yeah, absolutely. An hour is a long time to dedicate to something, especially when you have
you're like
work and
8,000 things going on already.
Right.
And you're like, man, who's my group gonna be?
Yeah, I had a Com 430 class, and we had to do 2 1-hour meetings a week for 6 weeks.
Oh,
and it was crazy. Yeah, and everybody was so stressed out, because it's harder to work your schedule out twice a week. So we all kind of, the first week, mapped out, well, I know I cannot make this meeting and that meeting. We had like set days and times. It was nothing like how we're all able to come together, within a couple days and set up a meeting. And we all had to get dock points, and it was just kind of a really hard situation, because as much as we tried, 6 people twice a week is crazy, who are working people, and it was hard, so we all lost points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Our group's been awesome that we come together. We prioritize this, and we're all understanding, so it's helped.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we communicate well. We're all really flexible.
Yeah.
So that's been awesome.
Agreed. Yeah, I know that when I entered this class, I pulled up the syllabus and I went to my wife and I'm like, oh no, here's a group of I just read group of and so I want to just do my own work and call it a day. And
Yeah.
so I was pleasantly surprised at how well I've been able to work with all of you. Y'all are fun to talk to. And I can tell that you're all good leaders. You've taken the lessons we've learned in this class in stride and you thought about them and applied them to your own lives and your situations. We've sat and talked about it. And I could just tell that all of you are just really good in your particular environments at home and at work about being good leaders. And it's been a pleasure to work with all of you.
Yeah, for sure. I agree.
Thank you. Same.
Thank you, Lisa.
I did the same thing, LaSalle. I took my syllabus into the office and I showed my boyfriend and I just said group work and walked away. Just pouted on the couch
It
after
can
that.
be a little intimidating. You know? Especially if you're not used to relying on other people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I told my husband though, I'm like, for like 1 hour a week, you're gonna have to like take him and take him to another room, otherwise they're not gonna be able to hear me. And he's been really good about it. But
That's awesome.
yeah.
So have you guys looked at the final project yet?
I just scanned it. I haven't sat down to read all the instructions, and I think I did it on purpose because I don't want to get stressed out yet.
Right.
But I like that we had to do a little bit each week, applying towards that, so it's not going to be nearly as bad. I feel like I can't imagine doing all of that work like in the last week. You know what I mean?
Oh, that would have been impossible.
It'd be hard. It'd be really hard. But there are people that make us do dumb things. Yeah.
Or we decide
there has
to torture
be a point
ourselves.
for this. There has to be a real reason why I'm doing this.
Right. For sure.
Let's see here. Or we'll torture ourselves and we'll procrastinate until the very last minute, and then we're like, "Oh right, final project due in 3 days." Okay,
great.
Let me get on
That's
that.
all we'll be doing for the next 3 days.
Right.
And that would have been impossible. It's been taking me a really long time through the week. I usually spend like, I guess, probably 8 hours total every week just on cutting and pasting and coming up with ideas for new meetings or to-do lists to paste in the jar. I am not
time consuming
at all, and so that stuff has really been hard, finding all those quotes from every different thing. And I mean, some of them are easy. If you go to the textbook, it's easy to pull quotes out of that. But like the weeks we were pulling things out of the Captain Cook book or out of the Odyssey, I was like just straining to find something meaningful to put on that sheet. So
I agree.
Yeah,
that was hard.
Because we want to put something meaningful and not just kind of BS through it. You know, I'm not comfortable with turning that quality in, you know? No. So, yeah, I agree.
Yeah, that was hard with like the Virginia Woolf and stuff, those longer documents that we had. I was like, this one totally relates in this way.
Right.
Okay, I think I did it.
I agree. It was weird though.
Do you guys find you work better under pressure?
Yes.
I don't like working under pressure, but I think my coworker, my partner, she pointed out to me, I think you do work better under pressure because you always stress out and then time just goes by and you're down to the wire and then you do well on these assignments. So I think if you just spaced it out and did a little each day, I don't think you would have done as good. And I'm like, maybe you're right. And, you know, let's hope that that's true come this website I had to create for my other class. But yeah, some people, they work better under pressure.
I don't know if I do. I know I don't enjoy it, but it doesn't mean I do bad. I don't know. I guess I'm not really. I just don't like it.
Yeah, I think I'm the same way. I don't like that stress and the pressure, but it forces me to focus and hustle, and so I end up, getting whatever it is done and then feeling pretty good about it. And then I just automatically move on to the next thing. There's never any downtime. I think maybe when I have that downtime, it promotes my laziness. And so, like this week, I've been struggling a little bit because there's been a lot of work to do. But in my other class, I'm pretty much done already. I just have a one-page paper to write. And now I'm like, what do I do with all my time? So I know. And so I've been working a lot, and I started knitting because what else are you going to do? I don't know.
Wow, look at you. You just are a jack of all trades.
Free time. Like, look at that.
I know, free time. Woo.
I was looking forward to October 5th. So we have like 4 days off or something before the next classes start. And in those 4 days, I gotta get my house in order. So I'm like just counting down. I feel like I feel like a little rat in a maze right now, and I'm just trying to get out. So I just want to finish.
You're almost done, girl. Now, why is it that some of our courses are 6 weeks and some of them are 7? Like this course is 7 weeks, but the one that another organizational ethics class I'm in was only 6 weeks. Have you ever seen that?
No.
I don't know.
Like our last day is tomorrow.
I've had some professors allow you to stop the class earlier, if that makes any sense. Like they don't go to the final date. Oh. That's what happened with the class that I'm in now.
Like he just gave us 6 weeks and that was it.
I don't know.
Great.
I never had.
I know the summer classes are
done tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
And I don't know if you've noticed, Jade, but the semester ends on like the 27th or 28th of November, and we don't start again until like January 8th.
Right.
I know. We've got all of December.
30th, actually, yeah.
It's weird.
That's wow.
It's a break.
I like.
Sometimes I
like a real
want
break.
too long of a break because then you get
then you don't want to get back into it.
Out of the mood. Yeah.
Well,
I've signed up for 2. I have 3 classes I need to take next in the spring, and then I'll hopefully graduate in May. But they're global awareness, and I searched for it last night to register and couldn't find it anywhere. So I got online and did my resources thing, and they were like, "We can't find it either." And I'm like, "Well, that's weird." So I don't meet with an advisor for another 2 weeks. So hopefully they're available because that's going to be my last class.
Yeah.
I don't think that global awareness is actually a class name. I think it's one of the categories of class.
Yeah, but I searched for categories of global awareness. Couldn't find one thing. It was really weird.
Interesting.
I know, but they have to offer it, right? Otherwise that will make me not graduate.
Yeah, you would have to be able to find something.
I would think so.
There's try searching under business classes because mine is Business 360, and it's global awareness, and they assign you a topic.
Oh.
Yeah, and I was assigned the topic of sex and sexualities across time and place, so that should be interesting.
Oh, that does sound interesting.
I was like, of all the ones I could have gotten.
Are you doing that one this semester, next?
Yeah.
Or in spring?
No, I'm doing it
and that's
in
what class? Business what?
Biz 360.
Biz 360. Maybe that's why I wasn't looking.
Because that sounds pretty familiar, because when I signed up for that class, I was having trouble finding which one I needed, and I was like, what the heck is going on? And then I ended up being enrolled in that one.
Wow, my Business 360 was last spring, and it was they called it the integrated worker. Yeah. And it covered onboarding, personality, introversion, extroversion, organizational, citizenship behavior, counterproductive work behavior, work-life balance. But I didn't
get that class. I took that class in the spring as well, yeah.
So for the work-life balance section, did you get to take the week off? Was that the assignment?
Did I?
That would be pretty sweet.
I'm trying to think if mine was 6 weeks. It was a 6-week class. Wow. That's interesting. They must be changing like the catalog
courses. It was a 6-week class. Well, 6 sessions. And I don't know which instructor you had, but yeah, a couple of the modules were like a week and a half long. And so you didn't have...
You had more time to do your work.
Yeah, you had more time to do the work. Exactly.
Okay, I had Kelly Nelson.
Yep, we were in the same class. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I didn't feel real stressed out. I don't think I felt stressed out up until this semester, knowing that I had to pass. There was no, I had so much writing on it. So it's been a really good program.
Yeah, it has. I've enjoyed this program. I'm glad this is my 6th university, and I'm finally getting something done after being in school forever. So
nice.
It's hard when we work and have a family and stuff. It's super hard.
It is.
Life is real.
And then setbacks happen, and whatever it may be, life happens, and you kind of got to reroute things and stuff.
Yeah. It's been a long process, but yeah, I'm happy to get it done. Just 2 more classes in session B, and I'm done.
Very nice. It's so exciting.
I'm still trying to decide if I'm going to go walk or not. I
just do it.
I feel kind of bad, like to make my family go, or to have them spend the time and money to go, and then my son's going to miss school a couple of days, and I'm like, oh man, do I want to do this? And I think because I've been so stressed out, I haven't really thought much about it. But a couple people at work, offered, if you need a trade for days off, I'll work for you because we want you to go. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So I'm thinking I might just do a quick trip and go walk.
You could
I'm planning to fly in one day.
Yeah.
The convocation for our department is that Tuesday night.
Tuesday. If I go, we have got to meet LaSalle. Yeah.
We'll have to set up a meet if you go. Yeah,
okay.
I'm planning to fly down for that one day and fly out the next day.
All right. That's what I'm thinking. Drive out that morning. My brother and sister-in-law said we'll take the day off, and so I'm gonna invite my sister, my parents, and it's up to them. I understand they're busy, but I thought we could rent a big van and all drive together, and then just do a turnaround trip. So we'll see.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
If
I hope we all have a good week doing the final project.
Yeah, you guys too.
We'll survive it.
We can do it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's been really cool too with Miss Flight. She replies so right away, whenever we have an issue, and she seems really understanding. So that's helped me kind of relax more in the class too.
Yeah,
but if I have any questions on the final, I'm going to text the group.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, that's pretty much our time for the night.
Okay. Well, I hope you enjoy the rest of your week.
Yeah, you too.
Okay.
And I'm sure this won't be the last time we talk.
All right, take care.
Have a good night, guys.
Bye-bye, guys.
Bye.